Okay, today what we're going to do is we're going to change out a motor for a pool pump for a customer. We've been called out on this service call saying the motor wasn't working. I'm going to go ahead and give it power. That's what we hear when the motor is either froze up or burned up. It can be a bad capacitor sometimes, but we've checked this one out and we've determined that the motor does need to be changed. This is a Hayward NorthStar, and we're going to start by removing it. Part of the problem you can see here with the plumbing is we have a lot of the pipes are in the way of being able to pull the motor. You can see how close the wall is to the back end of the motor, so we're not going to be able to slide the motor out in a traditional way. So what we're going to do is undo this bulkhead and this bulkhead right here, and that's going to let us take the whole pump, slide it out, and where we can actually work on it.
So now that we've got the pump out of the way of the plumbing, we've angled it up so we can work on it. We're going to start off by taking the back cap off to get to the electrical. We need to undo the electrical that's connected to the motor so that we can connect it to the new motor once we have it installed.
Before we go any further, we're going to make sure the power is out at the breaker. For safety's sake, we're just going to turn them all off. We have one little retaining clip right here. The easiest way that I found to deal with it is just remove it completely. One Phillips screw right there. Take the clip off completely. Set it aside. These pumps are designed, they have a big handle on them right here. And they're designed to come apart by just rotating this handle. So if that wall weren't in the way, we could have left all this together, rotate this handle, and just slide the motor back. I found a couple of screwdrivers helps to get this apart. You have to be careful not to break this flange piece right here. So we're gonna Okay, now we have the motor separated from the pump housing. We're going to take that off. And this is what we're going to be replacing. This ring will sometimes come off the back end, and that's fine. Just got to make sure you put it back on before you put the new motor on. This is the diffuser. You just remove it, set it aside. It's called the wear ring. Notice the direction that it is. It has a lip on it. The lip faces out into the diffuser. This is the impeller. In order to unthread the impeller, you have to hold the motor shaft from the back end. We've removed the impeller from there. Then we can pop this thing off here. It's the old pump seal. The other half of the pump seal is right in here. We're going to turn it upside down. And just pop it out of there. That's the other half of the pump seal. This is the seal plate O-ring. We're going to take it off, set it aside. Now we have to take these 4 9/16 bolts off to take the seal plate off. You can do This is a threaded shaft, round flange motor, and this particular one is a ST1202 made by A.O. Smith. This is a good replacement for the NorthStar motor that typically comes on it. This one has a smaller diameter for the motor, so they give you, where do we put it? They give you this little spacer. It's a little chunk of rubber that sets right where the back end of the motor is going to rest. It's going to set right here. This piece of rubber is going to set right in here like this to take up the difference in the diameter space of the motor. So we'll do that when we're done. Okay, now it's very important that you recognize which side is the top of the motor and which side is the bottom of the motor. The bottom of the motor has these open fluted area for air circulation. The top of the motor typically has the capacitor sitting on top. If you look at this, you notice that one side's closer to the outside and one side's further away. This little tab is your giveaway. That's the top of the motor. So we want to line that up with the capacitor, which is the top. This customer has elected to change his impeller. He had some damage to the old impeller. The new impeller kit comes with a pump seal and a wear ring for this particular one. While he's finishing that up there, I'm going to take this half of the pump seal and put it right there. These pump seals have a porcelain face on them, both on this side and on this side. You don't want to use any tools on that, mar it up in any way. You don't want to use any lube on it, any silicone, anything like that to get on that porcelain, because that'll mess up the seal. Even the oil and dirt from your hands, you want to make sure that's all nice and clean before you put it together. Again, this piece here has a little tab on the top that's going to fit right in that groove next to the other tab. You want to make sure you get that in there the right way. As you can see, that's on there. The next thing we do is we put the other half of the pump seal on the shaft. And remember what I was telling you, one side has a porcelain face, the other side is rubber. That rubber side is going to go against the impeller. The porcelain always goes against porcelain. So we're going to push that on there. Then we want to tighten the impeller down. Okay, now when I've got it that tight, now the shaft is spinning, so the only way I can tighten it the rest of the way is to hold the other end of the shaft. Again, they have special tools for holding the back end of the shaft, or you can just get an open end wrench that'll slide down in there, hold the back end of the shaft. And that'll allow me to tighten up the impeller the rest of the way. And we're going to put the wear ring on again with the cup side out, just like that. We put the diffuser back on. We're going to install a new seal plate O-ring. We're going to be reinstalling the electrical. If you forget to put this piece on, you're going to be embarrassed, because you then have to remove all of this stuff so that you can get your electrical. Once the electrical's on, you won't be able to get this ring on right here. And this ring is what attaches it to the rest of the pump housing. So I'm going to reattach the conduit fitting. This is a, it's called lube tube, and it's a Teflon based lubricant. You never ever want to use petroleum-based lubricants on pool O-rings and products because it will cause the rubber to expand, and that will work one time real good, but then never again. So always go with either a Teflon or a silicone-based lubricant for all your pool lubrication needs. And I always take just a little bit and put it behind these ears right here to help that plastic ring slide on it a little easier. Make sure this area is clear of any debris, any sand or grit that might be in the way. Before I put this together, what you see here, that tab right there needs to go in that groove right there on the top. So when you're sliding this together, this groove here and this tab need to be lined up. This ring needs to be setting on this side of the support. Okay, now I'm ready to put this thing together. Okay. Then this retaining ring again is what's going to hold it together. I want to make sure that I get it positioned. Okay. Our motor's back together, and then we want to put this little guy back in. There's a tab right there. Goes in the big hole, and then the little screw hole right there. Remember what I was telling you about this? That space right there needs to be filled with this guy right here. It's got a little sticky side to it. So what I'm going to do is put just a little bit of lift on it, and then tuck this rubber chunk in there like it belongs. You can see the rubber chunk right here resting on top of this saddle right here. That takes up the space for the difference in diameter on the motor. Okay, what we're doing now is we're reconnecting the electrical, and just as a footnote, if you are not a qualified electrician or getting assistance from somebody who is, you need to find somebody to help you with that. There is inherent risk in working with any electrical. If you're not qualified to do it, you need to get some help with that part of it. Also, you may want to check with your local building codes to see if permits are necessary when you change these things out. On this particular motor, it's a 220 volt motor, which means you have two 110 lines and you have one ground. The ground always goes to the green screw, and on these you really can't mess it up. There's one here and one there, and they are interchangeable. When you're finished with your install, you always want to prime the pump because it's going to be completely empty. To do that, you just open the pump lid and add water. Turn our breakers back on and turn the pump on.
Now that is a successful motor replacement. What did you say, Trigger?